Hi everyone, my name is Ria Singh and I'm a 2023 Coca-Cola Scholar. So what is the Coca-Cola Scholarship? The Coca-Cola Scholars Program Scholarship is an achievement-based scholarship awarded to students in their final year of high school. Students are recognized for their capacity to lead and serve, as well as their commitment to creating significant impact in their schools and communities. With the 35th class in 2023, the Foundation has provided over 6,750 Coca-Cola scholars with over $81 million in educational support. 150 Coca-Cola scholars are selected each year to win this $20,000 scholarship. This is truly one of, if not the most competitive merit scholarships in the United States. Winning the $20,000 scholarship means that you have 10 years to use it. So it could be for undergrad, law school, medical school, just any accredited U.S. college or university. The 2024 application will be available August 1st to October 2nd, 2023 for high school seniors graduating in 2024. Any student that is a senior in United States is eligible to apply. So first of all, you must take an eligibility quiz to determine if you are able to apply for this scholarship. It's just a couple questions, mostly demographic and biographical info, and it just determines whether you can apply or not. It takes a couple minutes, very, very simple. So for round one, also known as phase one, you're going to be entering some basic information. This is starting off with your biographical and high school information, very similar to what you entered for the eligibility quiz. You are probably going to need your high school's address on hand, phone numbers, emails, but when you're applying to college, you also need all of this info, so it should already be on hand for you. You're going to start off by entering your school activities. Now, the application may have changed a little bit from the past year, but this is what we had to do. For our school activities, we had to enter only those sponsored by our school. So for example, one of the prompts was enter the total number 0 to 16 of clubs or organizations in which you actively participated in. Now within this sector, there are multiple types of clubs that you can enter. So there was a section for student council, class president, there was a section for arts and the literary magazine. So you can put them all in by the category they will fit into. Additionally, it will say this on the application, so you have to make sure you're paying attention. But if you participated in an activity for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years of high school, that will count as one activity. It's very similar to the common application in which you're going to type the activity, but then select checkmark the years that you were involved. But just know that even if you were involved in something for 4 years, that's still one activity. Essentially, you will be able to provide the number of clubs or organizations in which you actively participated in, but you have a limit on the amount that you can list on the application itself. They split up these activities into sections, as I said before, and for this section, I listed a total of 10 clubs and 2 sports. Do not use any acronyms. This is a very, very crucial piece of information, even for college applications, anything else that you do. Don't use any acronyms because the people who are reading your application don't always know what these acronyms stand for. There are many clubs like HOSA, DECA, DAY. They don't know what it stands for. So you can put the whole wording and then put a parentheses of the acronym, but wherever you can, especially if you're not tight on word limit, do not use the acronym. In addition, you are also going to be entering your school-based awards or honors or your special skills or talents. For these, I entered things like my mock trial awards, DECA awards, just any award that has been sponsored by your school. Make sure you put that in. Next up is your community activities. So you must enter the number of hours of community service that you had completed in each grade. So if you are a younger high schooler student watching this, keep in mind that it's very, very helpful to keep track of this. I will say most Coca-Cola scholars and just people who are known to be very heavily involved in volunteering, they would have 250 hours upwards of volunteer hours per year. If yours are not this high, do not worry about it. Just be completely honest. A lot of scholars also happen to have the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award, and that is awarded to students who have a great number of volunteer hours. So if you have that award or if you're working towards it, you're probably in a good shape right now. But I would really recommend keeping track of this. Do not exaggerate too much, because the committee knows when things don't look reasonable for the number of activities you're involved in. So just be completely honest. Now, here in the community activity section, you have the same case where you can only put a select amount that you were involved in. So for example, it had said, enter the total number 0 to 9 of community groups, clubs, and organizations in which you actively participated in. You also are able to choose up to 3 clubs and organizations and indicate your highest level of participation. For some of you, the highest level may just be a participant. For some of us, it was president, vice president, just whatever your role was, make sure to include that. In addition, you're also going to enter your community-based group clubs awards and honors. So as I said before, a lot of us put in the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award. There were a number of other awards that I achieved from the other organizations in which I was involved in. And I also want to make a note that I had a unique high school experience in that I was online since the end of my freshman year due to COVID-19. And for me, my community activities also included the international nonprofits that I was involved in. For me, that is what I consider my community. So while I was able to take these NPOs and bring them to my school and create clubs in my school, I was also involved on the national level. There were organizations in which I was passing policy on the national level. So whatever you consider your community, obviously in a reasonable manner, is what you can put on this application. Additionally, in this section, you are going to put in your academic information. So applicants must list at least 3 high school level courses or higher in each course subject. So this is English, math, science, and social science. In the event that an applicant is currently not enrolled in their 3rd course, you can also enter in progress or no grade, and that will allow your application to be reviewed. In this section, they split it up by course subject. You enter the classes that you took for the subject every year of high school and the level, so this could be honors, AP, CCP, and the grade that you got in that course. Do not lie on this section, because if you do happen to make it to round 2 of the application process, you are going to have to submit your official transcript signed by a school official. So you are going to go deep in the trenches if you decide to round up an 89 to an A- and they try and match that and see that it doesn't correlate. So be completely honest with your grades, even if it was just a % off, because you keep in mind you are going to have to submit your official transcript. In addition, you are going to submit your class rank. Some schools don't have that, so it is optional. My school did it by the numeric rank and the %. I submitted my %. I was top 5% of my class. But if you have a numeric rank that you like, I would submit that. Now, last but not least, you're going to submit your employment information. Now, keep in mind, this is not used to determine whether you can move on because of the amount of monetary rewards that you received. It's simply just so that they know what else you're spending your time doing. Also keep in mind that information in this section should only be for employment in which you were paid. Unpaid work, including internships and volunteering, should be submitted in your school or your community's section. So here you will submit your weeks of employment in each grade level and the names of your employers. Round 1 is the hardest to pass. With this year's over 91,000 applications, we were cut down to 1,557 applicants moving on to the next round. It is said that this application round goes through an algorithm because you get to your decision so quickly. So it doesn't speak to your character, it doesn't speak to how you wrote your activities. While that certainly can be helpful because the committee will be reviewing it, just know that it is set to go through an algorithm because a lot of people have questions about that. Now we moved on to round 2. It's writing time. And I mean a lot of writing. In this section, you are going to submit a transcript and school report. It has to be sent from a school official and a recommendation letter. So this could be from a teacher, a counselor, a coach, advisor, just like on the common application. Make sure it's somebody who can attest to your growth as a student throughout high school, as well as your involvement in your school and your community. For this person, I chose my school counselor. She has seen me grow as a student even though I was an online student because I met with her so frequently. I told her about my passions, I shared everything I was involved in, and she also knew the work that I did in my community, even in my international nonprofit organizations. In this round, you are going to enter the same sections of school and community activities, volunteer activities, employment information, but you're going to be expanding upon them. You're going to list your activities out, put your positions for each activity, and then give statements of impact. These are 100-word descriptions of each activity and the work you did within it. So my biggest tip for this section is to be very, very descriptive. 100 words may seem like a little bit, and it can be for some activities, but it can also be hard to explain what the activity is and also your work within it in these statements of impact. So a lot of people I know even had to take days off of school to complete this because they waited last minute. It didn't seem like too much work, and I wouldn't say it's the length, the 100 words, that makes it so hard to complete. It's trying to fit everything in it in a cohesive way that will make sense to the people reading it. Additionally, statistics are key, and I will continue to say this is so similar to your activities in the Common Application. There is a big difference between saying I'm the president of student council and oversee the club versus I oversee the club of 20 plus members, I plan and organize all bi-weekly meetings, and collaborate with the community organizations to maximize our impact as a school. Those are two, that's the same position, but you're saying it in two very different ways. If you have statistics, put them in because it gives the people who are reading your application a better idea of what you do and the amount of people you're reaching. In my case, I do a lot of activism and advocacy work, so what was important for me was including the specific initiatives I've done within my clubs, and also specific legislation I've passed, specific senators or representatives that I've talked to. It gives them a better idea. For the other organizations I was involved in, I talked about how, number one, the number of people in that organization, and also like the guides that I wrote, how many people that reached. Sometimes it was over 500 people just for one organization. So as I said before, make sure you are putting those statistics. You will also have the opportunity to add your awards, honors, and recognitions. I added mine along with the level, so I put local, state, national, international. If you do have the space to describe what these awards are, I really would recommend it. Most of these local and state awards, the committee might not be as familiar with them, so if you have a couple words to describe it, I definitely would, because that's only going to help. Additionally, I want you to remember to be humble, but don't sell yourself short. If you started an initiative that reached hundreds of people on Instagram, put it down. You don't have to be reaching hundreds of thousands of people. You don't have to raise millions of dollars. If they can see the passion that you have behind the initiative that you are putting forward, I think that's what's going to carry you through. In addition to your statements of impact for every single activity, you will also write some essays and short responses. I will say that this part of the writing was actually really fun and gave me time to be creative and kind of reflect. It was also very, very similar to the supplemental essays on college applications. If you're filling out Yale's, you will see there is a lot of similarities between those prompts. My biggest tip for these longer question essays is to be yourself. Everybody says it, but you want to make sure that every single word counts, and it's honestly not necessarily the length of the writing that takes so much time, but it's how you craft your essay. The biggest piece of advice that I got from other Coca-Cola scholars was think about the why, what, and how. Why did you get involved? Why were you drawn to it? What do you do within it? And how are you going to use what you've done within this club in your future? It's okay if you don't have the answer for that last question, but if you're able to relate why you love doing what you do now to what you want to do in the future, I think that will certainly carry through. A lot of the time it comes down to helping people and bringing our world together. You also want to make sure you're giving examples. So for me, I can't just say I want to rectify our legal system. I have to say, what do I want to rectify in our legal system? What is specific legislation that I would pass? What are specific things I'm working on right now? The more specific you can be, the better. And it's okay not to have everything figured out. You're only 17 or 18 years old. They're not expecting you to know what you're going to do for the next 30 years. But if you can have a general idea, even up to college, what do you want to do in college? That definitely might give you an upper hand because they want to see that you have a clear vision. The biggest mistake that you can make in this round is not giving yourself a good week or two to write these essays, not even counting the time it takes to revise and edit them. This section is typically due in early December, which is a very crazy time for seniors. As you know, you're going to be scrambling, trying to get your college applications done. There's other scholarship applications due around this time, so you have to make sure you are planning this out ahead of time. As soon as you get notification of being a semi-finalist, make yourself a schedule. When am I going to complete every single thing? As I said before, there are a number of semi-finalists that had to take multiple days off of school just to get these essays in on time, because it really does take a lot of time. Now, moving on to round 3, you have made it to the last round. It is such a huge accomplishment. Typically in late January, you're going to receive notification of your status, and from the 1,500 semifinalists, over 1,500, only 250 are selected as a regional finalist. So as Coca-Cola says, reaching this level distinguishes you as an extraordinary leader in your school and community. Now, as you may know, the third round is the interviews. You're going to be invited to a virtual 20-minute interview with your regional interview committee. Now, these interviews typically take place mid-February, so you have a few weeks to prepare. By this time in your senior year, you may have already had your college interviews, and this is honestly very, very similar. Now, I will say everyone handles interviews differently. Some people like to prepare, some people like to get someone to ask them specific questions that they might be asked just to, practice their responses. I, on the other hand, along with many other Coke scholars, really like to do more impromptu. I wanted my interview to be as authentic as possible, so I did not necessarily prepare my responses. Rather, what I and a lot of people did was kind of sit down and write down every single activity that you do, and without looking anywhere else, sit down and write about why you do it. What does it mean to you? Because they want to see that passion, and you can only have that passion and show that passion if you really know in depth about every single thing that you do. So I definitely recommend that. Keep asking the whys, because that's what carries you through. I truly, truly believe that the why is what distinguishes scholars. I also have heard that some scholars, moved on because they were more specific in talking about their visions and their goals. And again, the committee likes to see you being specific if you can. And just like in the essays, instead of just talking about what you do, it is crucial to talk about why you do it and how you will continue doing it. They don't want to see that you're just doing these activities for the achievements and accolades in high school. They want to know that these are things that you are going to carry with you through college and beyond. Now, 20 minutes might seem like a really long time, but trust me, it can go by really quickly. Some people only got through 3 of their questions, they got cut off, had to go. I, on the other hand, and a couple other of the actual scholars, were able to get through all of the questions. My interview was honestly amazing. We were all laughing, sharing memories. I don't think it's something that you should be scared for. I think just showing up as yourself is so incredibly important. And as long as you know that you're extremely passionate about what you do, you really do have a good chance of getting this scholarship. Another pro tip is make sure you are sending a genuine thank you email after your interview. They are obviously interviewing a lot of people, obviously within your regional area, but 250 people is a lot, and they are cutting 100 people. So if you send a thank you email afterwards, share an anecdote, share, a story that someone else on the committee shared, I think that will really show just how much that interview meant to you, because making it to the interview itself is such a big deal, and these scholars and committee members are taking time out of their day just to talk to you. They want to learn more about you, so I think that will just add a personal touch that really can carry you. So all in all, my general advice is that statistics are not everything. You don't have to be the most perfect person academically, you don't have to be your valedictorian, you don't need all A's, but you do need to have passion and care for what you do and the people around you. Do not think twice before applying, because really anything can happen. There are plenty of people who had, you could say, lows in their application, things that wouldn't make them as appealing, but they were able to make up for it in other ways, whether it be their essay writing skills, whether it be their communication skills. And the committee really doesn't make a mistake by choosing any scholar. Every single person has something special about them, and while I will say there are many qualified people who don't get the scholarship, and it's just the unfortunate reality of many things in our life, I I do think that making sure you are showing who you are as a person over your achievements and accolades is so incredibly important. Now, I wanted to make this video because I know that when I was applying to college and university, and especially scholarships like this one, there weren't that many videos that really went in detail about the application process and giving advice. So I kind of want to be that person for anyone who may need it. I really recommend applying. I'm hoping to be able to continue giving more advice about college, just my experiences in life, and I definitely would love to help anyone reach out with specific questions. But best of luck, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.